Hey guys, John McNamara, host, Running Vegas. We're talking local sports, business, real estate. If you guys like to see, subscribe, follow us on Run Vegas podcast. Today, we got a special co-host in the house, Mr. Ryan Pulliam, talking a little UNLV football, UNLV basketball at the end.
All of it.
We're excited. Thanks for being on, man.
Hey, John, thanks so much for having me on. Anytime I get the call to take a little break of the day and talk UNLV sports, I'm always in. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Sometimes it's because we always have a lot of guests built up for this, but some people, get a little nervous being on the podcast, and I love that you're just like, I'm in. Let's go. let's go do this.
Let's go. Let's chat.
So cool. So start of the season, UNLV football, 6-1.
It's pretty cool. I mean, when we kind of did the pre-season forecast, I think I had us at 5-2 by now. So 6-1 is obviously a little bit better. And the team is really seeming to gel together. And I love that they just really kind of exude that Vegas hustle. They're gritty and they find a way to win games. So watching the boys get the W's is a lot of fun.
It's been good. Yeah, it's been overall, I would say, a good start to the season. 6-1. Boise game. What's your thoughts on it? It didn't feel like it was very close. We didn't get run out of Boise or anything, but it was a tough game.
It was, and especially the run up to it. And I was a little bit worried about the Air Force game, and we can chat a little bit about that later. But when you see that, I was like, okay, well, they'll bounce back. That was maybe a look ahead game for them, but just didn't seem like after that second half they came out of the locker room and just didn't get much going that second half.
Yeah, it's and I would say like 6-1 start from what I've seen, and you and I text all each other on the UNLV games before every one. But I thought 6-1 was a pretty good start because the offense looks electric. The defense has been kind of wishy-washy. Even you and I before the Boise game, I'm like, let's see if the defense can make some plays because Boise's actually kind of, I feel on the schedule so far, the first real team that we've kind of played. It was going to show what this team was. UCLA's looking good now, but they were not looking good when we played them. But yeah, it kind of showed. So.
It did. I mean, it's kind of one of those deals where we are who they thought they were, or whatever the quote was. Because I mean, I think at the beginning of the season, the defense I believe, was the biggest question mark. Maybe aside from who's going to start at quarterback, but the defense was a lot of a question mark. We had so many quality guys, All-American guys, leave and transfer out, and just a handful of them stayed. So it was going to be something to where it's like, what is this going to look like? And unfortunately, it is what it is on a couple of those games.
Yeah, that's a great point to bring up too. I think you were more optimistic than I was going into the season, so I think you were. I don't know what I was at. I was probably like 4-3 or something like this at this point, my projections. But you bring up a great point. There was a lot of turnover. I think they brought in 55 new transfers. So overall, the first year, Dan Mullen, it's been a good start.
Absolutely. No, I mean, heck, we're already bowling. That's tough. We're already bowling, and it's October. So we were bowling 2 weeks ago. Always a good thing when we can get one more game in December.
For sure. So what would you rate the offense for the beginning of the year? So I rate it, I should say.
Yeah, I think the offense gets an A. I mean, they're exciting to watch play, and the nice thing about it, we have plenty of options. So it's not just the quarterback or the running back. We have plenty of options. We seem to spread the ball around a good amount, so it keeps the defense on their toes. And if we do kind of get a little bit stalled, we just gas up the jet. I mean, he has 615 yards on 83 carries, and it's nice that we've been able to pace him out, so it's not totally reliant on Jet Thomas or maybe one running back, or excuse me, White out, kind of like a Ricky White was last year. So I love how they're spreading around. I love what they're doing, and Calandria is just a great guy on quarterback.
Yeah, and you called that early on, like the poor man Johnny Manziel. So I love it because he's been, So this, I gave it an A too. It's been really explosive, fun to watch. Probably overall the best offense I've seen in UNLV in the last 15, 20 years or whatever it is since I've been watching. So that's not the total history. But yeah, I would say Anthony Calandria and that's clearly my favorite player that to be able to watch has just been insane. I was a little nervous. You and I were texting at the Idaho State game because one thing why I did not give it an A+ is the O-line. The interior looks really good. The tackles look terrible. I didn't see in that game push, and I'm still not seeing push. Because that's what I always look. I'm like, does the offensive line move the defense or vice versa? Because that kind of dictates what's going to happen.
Right.
And I love he said Jet Thomas because probably my favorite play of the whole Boise game was where he's in the backfield and he just stiff arm, breaks 4 tackles in the back to get like 8 yards, whatever it was, maybe 10 yards.
He started out as a tackle for a loss, and he got positive yards out of it.
Incredible what Jet Thomas has been able to do. And the offensive line it's not really pushing anybody around. So
in that Air Force game, Air Force. Yeah, I think you kind of have this connotation where they're smaller. We always think they're going to be in pilots, so they're all small. They had some big boys. Like those boys aren't going to fit in a cockpit of an aircraft.
Yeah.
So we'll. I mean, it was kind of interesting to see that, and how their D line was able to really not dominate our offensive line, but didn't make it easy for us.
Yeah. So, all right. So we both gave A's. So the big question now: what would you grade the defense?
Defense, I gave a C-. I know a lot of fans right now are up in arms. They're really upset about it. One thing that I kind of think about is we've given up over 1,000 yards the last 2 weeks. Air Force is tough. They run that triple option, and it's one thing to see it on film. It's a totally different thing to see it on the field. And if you haven't defended against that offense, it's a little off. So you kind of have to say, okay, these are, like we said, turnover, a lot of new players, hadn't seen that on the field of play, so that's going to take about a year or two to really click for a lot of those guys sticking around. Yeah. Boise's obviously one of the classes of the league, so if we'd given up 1,000 yards to 2 different teams, I may have graded them a little lower, but I'm going to give them a C+ and give them the benefit of the doubt.
C+, C-.
C-. I apologize.
Whoa, that's a big difference.
C-. Thank you.
Okay. So I gave a C- too. I was kind of debating. I'm like, do I do the D+ on the way over here? No, I did C-. And the reason I gave him C-, everything you just brought up. But at the end of the day, we are 6-1. Mm-hmm. They've been really bend not break until lately. And it seems like Paul Gunther I don't know. He's been interesting. And I don't know if you've been seeing the reports, but there's reports that people are interested in Paul Gunther to be their head coach. Oregon State, a couple other ones, and I'm just like, I'm not sure.
Yeah. See ya. So if they need to go do that, by all means.
I gave it a C- as well. I think, we definitely need to improve in that area. And I think a big part of that, too, is we actually lost our defensive coordinator at the beginning of the year. The guy was from Mississippi State. So I think we talked about it in the last one. But it is showing. I think we need a legit coordinator that can kind of run some schemes, maybe some 3-3-5s, whatever it is. But it's not like that old school NFL mindset. Because Paul Gunther, I thought he was a good, considering what occurred, cool, we'll take Paul Gunther.
Absolutely. But
it shows, because he was always, I remember him in the NFL, he was always a bottom third defense as a defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. He never really had good defenses. But college and NFL are so different.
So different.
College, you're rotating players. NFL, those guys are paid. They play the whole time.
Right.
They're out there the whole time. So that's my rant on the defense. But anyways, so what is you call this? I have an idea who you're going to pick here. Who is your favorite offensive player to watch this year?
Well, we live in the desert, and the desert needs AC. Anthony Calandria is just he's just awesome, man. He's a lot of fun. He's been great in the pocket, and if he breaks down, I mean, you can see him go through his options. Then he'll take off, and he's been able to scramble and get out. And I mean, aside from maybe three errant passes, he really hasn't had a lot of those bad decision turnovers that plagued him when he was at Virginia and ended up getting him benched towards the end of his last season there. So I think it's just maturity. I think Dan Mullen working with them and mentoring him. Dan Mullen has always done very well with that type of quarterback, and he's just fun to watch, man. So I'm a big AC fan, and I'm glad that he's quarterbacking our team.
I love that. Okay, AC is my favorite to watch too, and I think you predicted on this show that he'd be the starter for the first game. So you were right, and I think it's interesting because I was thinking about this way over too. I believe he's MVP. I think most people think that. Yeah. But if we did not have him, I think this record would look very different because we don't have good offensive tackles. The pass protection has not been good, but he's been able to move around, create plays with his legs or passing. It's been incredibly impressive. So he's been my favorite offensive player too. And then Jet Thomas, I kind of threw him in there too, just because They're not, and Dan Mullen's always done this. He doesn't like overuse his best running back, which is good because if they go to the NFL someday, they're not beat up. But Jet has been really impressive too. The plays he makes with no space, and I'm his contact balance is just insane. So I'm really interested to see if AC and Jet stay for next year. Hopefully NIL can give them a good deal. But they have just been crushing it.
It's been a lot of fun watching them play that 1-2 punch.
Yeah, it's been good. So what's been your biggest surprise on the offense this year?
So I didn't know as much about Dan Mullen, about his rotation on running back, because I was so fixated on Jet Thomas at the beginning of the year. I really didn't give Glover and Lee a whole lot of. I was like, oh, the kid transferred from Utah, must be pretty good. But just to really have that three-headed monster that no matter who is in the backfield, if they get the ball, they're going to move the ball forward. And so I think that's been my biggest surprise. Is just those guys really weren't on my radar because I was so excited about Jet Thomas coming back, that they've really opened my eyes about the running back by committee and just showing that, hey, we've got three guys that can run the ball, and knock on wood, turnovers, fumbles haven't been an issue with them at all. And I think that's huge when you're playing these games where maybe the defense isn't as tight as you want it to be. We need to make sure we can move the ball and score points, and behind that three-headed monster, that's been the most exciting thing the most surprising thing for me to look at this year.
Yeah, I agree with you too. I mean, it's been really, I would say the running backs and the depth of it, Dan has done a good job recruiting running backs, because the running game has been overall good with not a good offensive line overall. So it's been pretty impressive what they've been able to achieve, and I'm super excited. I feel like it was a miss by the coaching staff. I think they did the best of their ability to recruit the offensive line. It's just we're too far in the season. The problem, you can't make trades in college is what it is. I'm sure they're going to shore up the offensive line going to next year and get like 7, 8 really good offensive linemen, and kind of it's going to be fun to watch this run game in the future with these potentially these running backs and an actual line that can push. I think they're going to be even more explosive in the future. So that wasn't my surprise, but you brought up a really good point. My surprise was Jaden Bradley, the wide receiver.
Yeah.
I know we talked about like a bunch of receivers on the show last time, and he just really has just come out and made big plays. It's been really impressive. It seems like everything's kind of come together with him, and he's been fun to watch.
A lot of fun, and you're right. I don't think he was on my radar. I had the three other guys that I was really high on in the beginning of the season. And did you? Well, you brought up. I think you did bring him up at the beginning of the season. Yeah, I think you did.
I probably did.
But I mean, yeah, he's been great. You throw it out there, and I think he's missed two probably gimme type balls, but aside from that, he's been awesome. And it's so nice to be able to have a guy that if the ball gets thrown your way, you're going to be able to elevate, make a play, and catch the ball for a big
it's been cool. Down. Yeah, because I kind of thought it was going to be Troy and then Irvin, and I think we talked about Irvin a little bit, but Bradley was kind of like my third, fourth. So for him to come out and be the one, it's just been it's been fun to watch. So I have an idea who your favorite is on defense. Who's been your favorite defensive player to watch this year? So
just as you picked 2 on offense, I'm picking 2 on defense, because defense hasn't been as exciting as we'd hope, and there's been some really big gash plays. Marcel McDuffie and Amaris Brown. I call McDuffie McStuffy because he's a great linebacker. Gets in there, and he's had some really big plays, fumble recoveries, interceptions at pivotal moments of the game, and you need big playmakers like that on those pivotal points of the game. So McStuffie is a big dude, and AB is just I don't know if he's still leading the college in interceptions, but again, making big plays when it's needed, when they count. So those have been my 2 most favorite players to watch on defense.
Okay, cool. So I think those are kind of like the 2 shining stars on defense. Right. McStuffie, which I love what you always say, was my favorite defensive player. AB has been my biggest surprise. I knew they brought in like 10 transfers. Right. And it sounds like with AB, they just kind of put him in a place where he could be more versatile. But he's been super impressive, creating big plays. He was one of those guys I was really hoping maybe he can make a big play in Boise and kind of make that momentum play. Just didn't occur. But yeah, do you have a surprise player on defense, or you're just those are your 2 guys? Yeah,
those are my guys. I mean, I think the whole defense has been a surprise, maybe good or bad. But I think those guys, like I said, they've really stepped up in those big moments, and that's been a pleasant surprise.
Okay.
Maybe one guy who surprised me he's not making more of a difference, if I could go negative, is Jake Pope. He's there. He makes some tackles, but I was really high on him at the beginning of the season, and it just doesn't seem like he's by now living up to his billing. And there very well may be some things he's doing great on the defensive end that I'm not saying or paying attention to. Yeah. Sometimes, defensive players don't get as much spotlight as offensive because you have the ball or you don't on offense, and then defense, they're doing things that I don't even know about, forcing plays one way or the other. So, but layman's term, maybe he's not as exciting as I thought he may be.
Yeah, I agree. Jake Pope, he's made a lot of tackles, but he just hasn't made like big plays. And we'll see. He's still a young player.
Right.
I think PFF has him graded pretty low, and like people go back and forth with PFF grades, but either way, that is kind of a red flag when he's graded that low. And kind of like you too, like I'm a fan. I played football back in the day, but at the end of the day, like I don't know football like the coaches and the players do, right? Mm-hmm. So it might be things that we're just not seeing. But yeah, I thought he was going to be making more of an impact too. So we'll see. So what has been the biggest disappointment this year?
We'll address the blue elephant in the room, and that's Boise State. Obviously, with them vacating the conference next year, this was kind of our last time to play them in conference on the Smurf turf. We'll see what happens with the Mountain West Championship game if we get there. But it's just, they kind of are like the SDSU of basketball, where it's just they've been the class of the league for so long, and we want to be the number one team in the Mountain West Conference, and to be the best, you got to beat the best, and we just have not been able to do that. So obviously the biggest disappointment is the loss to Boise State.
Yeah. It was, going into that, and I thought we had a chance, but it wasn't very much a close game. I was kind of hoping, too, even if we didn't win the game, I was hoping to see progress.
Yes, especially after the Air Force getting gashed on us for 500-something yards.
There wasn't progress. No. Because we played Boise 4 times now in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Is that true? No. 3 times?
Excuse me. Yeah.
And, so unfortunately they're leaving. They're going to always have that over our heads. It doesn't matter if we go undefeated next year and we win the Mountain West and they go 10-2 in the pack. They will have that over our heads for sure.
Yeah.
We know how that works. So, yeah, and then we already kind of touched on it too. The disappointing for me has been the defense, Paul Gunther. And good segue, because last year our defense looked really good. This year they're ranked 11th in the Mountain West, which is crazy to me because you and I have seen some really bad defense with UNLV.
Right.
I mean, they've always just historically been terrible. But to see this much talent and to be the 11th ranked defense in the Mountain West, to me is like, that is just, to me, that's unacceptable.
It's a huge disappointment. You're absolutely right.
You've got to be like at least middle of the pack with the talent that they're bringing in. So, segue then, how would you compare, say tomorrow, this week, since we're on a bye week.
We are.
UNLV last year versus UNLV this year. Who do you got?
I think last year's team wins solely because of the defense. I think offense would be pretty close. There's some studs on offense last year with Haj and Ricky White and De Jesus. Obviously, Jet was still there. He's still here this year. But I think the defense, our cornerbacks and our secondary were much stronger last year. And even if those guys were covering the wide receivers down the field, you had Woodard right there in the line. So they put a spy on Anthony Calandro with Woodard, and I think that he would probably cut down a little bit of his playmaking ability. So I'm going to go last year's team by a touchdown.
Ooh, a whole touchdown. Okay. I was going to say last year's team 3 points. I agree with you. It felt like it was a more well-balanced offense. Not as explosive as this year, but definitely the running game looks stronger. And the defense definitely was better.
Right.
Probably the best defense than I've ever been watching for UNLV. So, to be fair, though, that was Barry Odom year 2.
Correct.
So we'll have you on the show next year for sure, talking UNLV football. And we'll see Dan Mullen year 2 versus Barry Odom year 2, and we'll have that discussion again. But yeah, I think last year's team was just more well balanced. They did a really good job, but they had a year to build the culture too. So
that's true.
There's
Very
something
true.
to be said about that as well.
Yeah,
so,
that offseason's important with the guys just gelling and knowing who's playing next to you.
Yeah, and it's hard when you bring in so many new kids. You're going to have misses, and unfortunately, like we talked about, when the season starts, you can't make trades. You can't. Your team is what it is. And to bring in 55 new kids and think you're going to get them all right or a position group all right, it's tough. So I'm excited to see who comes back next year and how they're going to kind of fix their weaknesses. Because I could see Dan Mullen's a good coach.
Right.
He's going to be able to get that figured out. So, okay. We're going to go through the end of the year. We're going to go through predictions. Let's go through it. New Mexico. Who do you got?
New Mexico's win, since we're playing at home, they are a little bit more of a surprising team to me this year than I thought they were.
Yeah. I'm going to take a win, too. One thing I'll say about the end of this year, because when I looked at the schedule, too, I don't know if I was like not excited about the schedule except for the UCLA game. Mm-hmm. But New Mexico, Utah State, and Hawaii look way better now than they did in the beginning of the year. So I'm kind of excited for the second half of the year. I don't think like New Mexico is just an automatic win. I think it'll be a good game. I do pick UNLV though. Okay, at Colorado State.
At Colorado State, it's a wild card. They just fired their head coach. Haven't been having the season that they wanted, so I think that should be a W.
I think that's a W too. Yeah, interesting with Norvell. It just never worked out there. He did such a good job at Reno.
I know.
It was interesting. But anyways, okay, we got Utah State at home.
Utah State at home. I think we're gonna beat those guys. I don't think and I haven't followed them closely. However, nothing I've seen in their stats or their records show that they're going to be anything that is not a cupcake by any means, but I think we get the W there.
I got W too. I think they're kind of middle pack Mountain West team this year. I don't think that's a gimme either. If turnovers go the wrong way, they could stay in it. But I'm going to have a win for us as well. And then rivalry game at Allegiant Stadium, Hawaii.
The Battle of the Ninth Island. Yeah. I think
I'm excited for this game.
This is going to be an exciting game, and this is probably the game that I'm most concerned about. The Rainbow Warriors come in, and Timmy Chang and his air raid offense. Our secondary may get blown up that game, so we just have to make sure that we score more points than the Rainbow Warriors do. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think the Hawaii fans that live on the Ninth Island are going to come show out, support their boys. So we need everybody out at Allegiant to make sure the Rebels feel like it's a home game. But Rebels take home the pineapple and win the Ninth Island Showdown.
You're such a better fan than I am. I do think we are the better team. I just feel at the end of this year, we're going to have a loss somewhere. I think it'll be New Mexico, Utah State, or Hawaii. Hawaii by far looks like the best team. And it's rivalry, like you said, like it's going to be a little bit of a bowl game kind of atmosphere to it because Hawaii fans show up.
Absolutely.
I mean, when we've gone to some games, Hawaii's been bad, and there's 10,000 Hawaii fans in the stands. Like, they are passionate. And one thing I saw about Hawaii, which I was surprised, they have a really good offense, obviously. They have a really good defense. Top 3 in the Mountain West. So I'm going to say this is a game where UNLV, I hope they don't, but this is the potential game when they slip up. I'm going to do a loss just because I think it's really difficult to get another 5 wins in a row here.
Very fair.
And then I'm assuming, since you're wearing the colors today, at Reno.
I know. I do this every time. I need to quit this.
At Reno.
The city of North, Rebels win handily. Fremont Canyon stays red, and that's a good thing.
All right. You're going to just rip open. You got UNLV underneath or something. This is the time to do it.
This is it.
I got to get you going a little bit every time we're in Reno. I think that's an easy win. I'm thinking about actually going that game. I've never been at Reno before. So, all right. So you have them going 5-0, and I have them going 4-1. So are you're thinking that we're in the Mountain West Championship game?
Yeah, I mean, I think we do have the one loss. I think we're going to play at Boise State, and unfortunately, my fandom can't be too Pollyanna-ish.
Still wearing blue.
Yeah, I'm still wearing blue. I do think that we lose at Boise State in the Mountain West Championship game.
Okay. Yeah. If we make it, I would say they lose to Boise too. So either way, good year so far. It's been a fun first half. I hope they can finish strong. I hope they go with the 5-0.
It'd be great.
I love it. I love that. So, okay, cool. Big question, though. There's already rumblings.
Already.
That Dan Mullen is in talks, or not in talks. People are talking about him potentially going to some other programs. What do you think? I know you made a statement the other day, but what do you think? Is he back for year 2?
Yes, I think he's back for year 2. By no means do I believe Dan Mullen's going to be the longest tenured head coach at UNLV.
Yeah.
Because you're right, there are already rumblings. I mean, Arkansas was rumbling so much that he had to actually tweet that, hey, that's nothing going on. I do think that if he stays one more year with who's vacating the conference, I think the Mountain West Conference is ours for the taking. He could possibly secure a playoff berth next year, and then that he may be able to parlay that into maybe a larger gig. We know, money money talks and coaches walk. We saw that with Odom.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I am concerned about, there are some high-profile programs that have openings already in the middle of the season. They've made some coaching adjustments. So it's something that's definitely there on the back of my mind, but I think Dan Mullen's in the scarlet and gray on the sidelines year 2.
Okay, I like it. I do too, but you're right. Like, there's already a huge domino with Franklin getting fired from Penn State, and obviously that is just a great job to take over. But yeah, I think Dan does stay here for another year. He's kind of made his money, so to speak. You can always make more money, of course, but I think he actually enjoys being in Vegas. This is the right situation for him. It's a good way to build a program. I think we'll get him for year 2. I think we're lucky if we get a year 3. I think there's a possibility of that. I also thought there was a possibility of Barry Odom staying for year 3. But yeah, I think if we get him for year 2, good. Year 3, amazing. And then,
Anything after that. But hopefully we'll secure ourselves as something where we're a destination now that people want to come. And in Harp I trust. So if there has to be another coaching change, 2-3 years down the road, I trust Eric Harper, and all my faith is in him.
Yeah, Harper's doing a good job. He doesn't get enough credit. Well, now he does a little bit. There was a time there where he wasn't, but I think this is a way better situation. And then I think just establishing a winning culture in football,
so huge.
It's going to continue being a destination now for head coaches. Now, is UNLV basketball a destination for coaches? I don't know, but we got Mr. Passner in the house now. I like the hire. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like the hire when it happened. It wasn't something that made me jump out of my seat and think this is absolutely amazing, but he's made me a believer, and I have running Rebel fever again, and I love how he's reaching back out to the history of the program, bringing Stacey Ogden back, bringing Justin Hawkins back, bringing Anthony Marshall back, because I truly believe that the history of the program is so important to who we can be going forward. He loves Las Vegas. He's using that energy, and I kind of like how he rocks the shirt and tie. I watched the exhibition game at Washington on Sunday. He rocks the shirt and tie. He's not real casual. He takes it serious. So I dig that about him too.
Yeah, I love you bringing it up. He's got some Rice vibes, John.
He does.
Right. I don't know if that's good or bad.
Right.
I said it. But he does. I mean, he's scheduling well.
Yeah.
And that's a little scary for year 1 because we basically have a completely new basketball team going into this year. You hit on the nose. He's recruiting well. He's walking the walk. He's talking the talk. The one thing I don't think he's going to be a Rice because I liked Dave Rice.
Absolutely, we all did.
I don't think he was a good coach.
No.
In terms of X's and O's as a basketball coach. I think he was a good person. I thought he did good things overall for the basketball program. He just couldn't win big games. Passner is a proven winner. And he's not like an A-plus coach maybe, but he's definitely a very good coach. I think I like how competitive he is. He wants to run the ball. He's saying all the right things.
He's saying all the right things.
He knows how to get us fans riled up. So we'll see, because everybody kind of says this and the season starts and then they're not running and we're not winning those big games. But I love the hire so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like that he wants to be here. He understands, because I don't know, unless you've been watching basketball about 10, 15, 20 years ago, you don't really understand like the culture and what it can be. And so for him, somebody who went back in time, played at Arizona, played UNLV, he understands it. So I think he's overall a good hire. So what do you think about the overhaul on the roster?
On paper they look great. I'm glad that he was able to recruit and get guys who fit his scheme. We're long, we're athletic, but can they play together?
Yeah, big thing. We're basically like 10 new players going to be playing, so it's going to be interesting. I saw that Emmanuel Stevens going to be out for
6 to 8 weeks, or
that is not good because we don't have a lot of size. I was a little disappointed they didn't fill those last 2 scholarships because I felt like we needed another big man.
Absolutely.
And him going down, I think it's definitely going to hurt because going into schedule, Memphis, Maryland, Alabama, at Stafford, we got St. Joe's at home beginning of the year. What's that? What are the games you're looking forward to?
I'm actually looking forward to Stanford most. I bought my ticket. I'm going to fly up, go to the game, fly back.
Sick.
So it's going to be fun. I want to check out the campus. So that's one of the games I'm looking forward to. All the Players Era tournament games are going to be exciting. So you're right. There's some juggernauts on the schedule that we need to make sure that we at least compete at to build that foundation that Pastner wants to build on to make us a program going into the NC2A tournament at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And do you have a player that you're looking forward to the most?
Man, Kamani Hamilton, I watched the exhibition game, like I said, on Sunday, and that kid has one of the quickest first steps that I've ever seen. So I'm excited about his athleticism, his explosiveness, and we'll see how he does fitting into Pastner's scheme.
Yeah, Kamani Hamilton looks super interesting. Big kid. He's like 6'8", 6'9", 225 pounds. I think they're gonna run through him. No pun intended, but yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. So, guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Ryan, thanks for being on, brother.
Thanks
Appreciate
so much, man,
you.
for
You see
having
this
me.
guy to lead and say, buy him a beer. Go run in Vegas. Have a good day.